Let's talk problems with Word. Now, when you open up a document in Word or when you start a new document, a lot of people don't have a look round. So let's put this in context. If you're working on a project, maybe you're doing some DIY or you're baking a cake, you're going to get everything ready before you start. You're going to prepare your workspace, you're going to get all your tools, everything that you need, make sure it's there, and you'll get prepared. And we don't do that with our computers. We switch on Word, we open up a document, and we just start working on it. We don't have a look at behind the scenes. So what I want you to do, if you've got a Word document that is causing you a problem, watch this video first, and then go back and look at what's happening behind the scenes of your Word document. And this will help you find out where the problems are and find out where you're going wrong. So we're going to jump into Word and we're going to have a look and see if you can spot any of these in some of your documents or your colleagues. So what are the first things I will do when I go into a Word document? And often this is because I'm helping someone else with it, or I'm looking at something of my own. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch on my ruler. Now in the View tab, so if we go to View at the top, here we are, there's the View tab. I'll just mark that for you. Okay, there is a tick box for ruler, and one of the things that I think Word should do is put this on by default. Let me show you what it does. So if we look, I'm going to mark this in red and you'll see. So here's the top of the document and down the left hand side. So when I switch my ruler on, you will see it's as if somebody's laid a ruler across the file. So let's give that a go. So there you go, just tick it, and it'll remember that once you switch your ruler on, it will stay on all the time. So this is why they don't put it on for the beginning, but there we are. Now the advantage of this, I can already start to see, so if we look here, here's my top ruler and they've got a grey area, and then that changes to white, and if we follow it along, and then it goes back to grey again. So I can already start to see where my margins are, because where it changes from grey to white, there's my margins. If I look down the vertical one over here, I'll draw you a little arrow so you know where I'm looking. Okay, on the vertical one, there we go, there's the grey to white. You might not be able to see it on my screen, and when I scroll down the document, and you'll see again, you get the white to grey. So already I'm beginning to understand a bit about what's going on in the scenes. We can also use the rulers for things like indents. We can see why a paragraph's been indents, if there's tabs, etc. So this tells us so much. Okay, so that's the first thing. Switch your ruler on. Once you've done that once, it will stay on forever, and you're going to worry about it. But you get to use it a lot, and you'll start to, if you follow me and subscribe to me, you will start to use your ruler, so you can see what is going on behind the scenes. And then you'll wonder how you ever live without it. Right, so let's come back to the Home tab, because there's a few other things I want to tell you about this document. Okay, so somebody will contact me and they'll say to me, Helen, this document's really doing weird things, the page numbers aren't working, the headers and footers keep going wrong, and then sometimes when I do tables they don't work either. And the first thing I say to them is look at the top of the screen, so if I go right to the top, and look for the file name. Now next to that file name, does it say compatibility mode? So if you look at this, it does, doesn't it? Obviously an example I've prepared earlier, and a compatibility mode. So in 2007 they changed the file formatting for all of the Office files, and it was Word that had the most impact. So if you've got a compatibility mode, you are using a file format that is nearly 20 years old. I'll let that sink in a bit. 20 years old your file could be, and that doesn't mean you're using out of date stuff as far as the words are concerned, because obviously it's been updated, but it means all the stuff behind it, all the properties and the formatting and the stuff you don't see, is all over 20 years old. That's really old. And what a lot of people do, they pass documents down. So a colleague might have devised this file a long time ago, and they've passed it down and nobody's ever changed the formatting. And it's really easy to do, and once you've changed that, things will work so much easier. So let's go and change that. We're going to go to the File menu and we're going to choose Info, and you'll see this compatibility mode comes up here, and all I need to do is click on Convert. Okay, it says your document will be upgraded to the newest file format. I mean, if in any doubt, you could always save a copy first and then do it, but I would just choose OK. And there we go. It hasn't changed the document at all, but what it has done is that compatibility mode has disappeared and things will work. So if you have that problem, you need to upgrade your files. Maybe have a look through any files that you open, check to see. Now I'm going to show you one other thing about that compatibility mode. So what I've done here, here's the file I was working on, and you'll see I've actually got two files of the same name, and the reason that is because I just want to show you the properties. So this first one at the top, there we go, that one there, you can see that is the Word 97 file, and the lower one is the one where I've upgraded it to the newer file format. So quite clearly, if you went into File Explorer or opened a file, you'd be able to see exactly what type of file it was. But the reason I also want to mention this is I want you to look at the size of these files. So exactly the same file, and the 97 file is virtually twice the size. It's 20 kilobytes, where the newer version is 12 kilobytes. So basically, if you've got an old file format, and this is a very small file, so it's not a problem, but if you've got a file that's going to be quite large, the old file format will be double the file size. So not only is it going to be unruly and do strange things, you'll also find that the file is really big, and that sometimes can make it unstable. So make sure there's another reason for upgrading. So what I suggest, if you come across any files that have compatibility mode, it happens in Excel too, and PowerPoint. It's less. It brings up less issues in Excel, but obviously it can affect the row numbers. So old Excel files have a lot less rows than the new file format, but within Word and I'll do a video about that as well. I'll do a video about the Excel one so you can see the difference. But Word is the formatting, and it just sends the formatting completely up the wall, and you won't know why. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It is just an old file format. So a couple of really important things then: if you open up Word, you're working on a file, switch your ruler on and look at the file format. If you've got any compatibility mode, upgrade them, and just go through every time you find a compatibility mode file, info, convert, and do that every time, and you'll find your files work much better. It gets much easier. Okay, thanks very much for listening. Don't forget to watch out any other videos, and I'll do one on Excel as well, so you can see how the old file formats can cause a problem in Excel. Thank you.